What is happening, you beautiful bastards? Welcome back to another week. I threw that one at Jerry. He wasn't ready.
No, I wasn't. But since I'm already here, Grizz, what do you think about cancel culture?
I mean, for the
One
most
sentence.
part, I thought I had a sentence. For the most part, I think it's bad.
What do you think about Twitter?
I think it's a net negative.
What do you think about gun control?
Ooh. Positive, negative, neutral?
And what do you think about Rhode Island?
Ooh, negative.
Let's dive deeper.
What is happening, you beautiful bastards?
She just rattled. Negative, positive.
I tell you one sentence, you just reduce it to one word.
It's ecstatic. Fucking fabulous. Oh, shit,
What are your thoughts on the import structure of Bangladeshi sand? Yes.
Dude, I just watched on I was fucking nodding off hardcore on the couch because I came home and didn't do anything. And I was watching like Pakistani fucking rock. It was awesome.
What do you mean Pakistani rock? Like the music?
Yeah. What do you think I was talking about? No, I watched a rock from in Pakistan. It was fucking
Listen, I don't
fantastic.
know anything about Pakistan. For all I know, that could be a sport there.
I also watched something get nailed in a fucking dome with a baseball. That was good too.
What are you doing in your free time?
I just don't know.
Is this on the YouTubes?
No, it was on the Reddits.
Oh, yeah. That's a totally different kind of algorithm.
Yes, it is. I actually very rarely watch YouTube.
Really?
I actually don't watch too much of anything.
Wait a second. Is this a music video where they're like jamming out in mud hut streets and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've seen it. I didn't know what it was that I was watching. No, I don't think it's good at all.
You're not a man of culture. I'm a simple man, Jerry. I can get down with that shit.
That does remind me though. There's some happenings with Twitter. You've been following what's going on with Elon Musk?
Nope. You're the Elon cuck boy.
Yeah, so I've been cucking as usual. And so this whole Twitter thing, I assume you heard that Elon wants to buy Twitter.
Yeah, that was like fucking 3 years ago.
It goes back and forth. It's looking more and more likely now.
I know why he wants to buy Twitter.
Why do you think he wants to buy Twitter?
That sounded like one of his big reasoning was he is against the censorship that a lot of social media is taking.
Yes, that's his broad spectrum complaint, I think.
Which I can't blame him, right?
But do you really think that there's anything anyone can do to fix it?
No, because we've had this conversation before. I think one way is, I think if you censor it, isn't good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't censor it, it's just a fucking dumpster fire and probably not good.
Yeah, the issue with social media in general, but especially Twitter, there are no societal guardrails which keep people.
No safety rails.
There's no safety rails. There's nothing keeping people from saying something that would normally get them punched in the mouth.
See, I think this is Darwinism. Excuse me.
Okay.
This is Darwinism at its finest.
I don't see it. Tell me.
I know. So let's do flat Earth, for example, right?
Yeah.
This person goes on. They don't believe in any of this shit. And all of a sudden, next thing they know, they're reading about flat Earth and like, holy fuck, it's true. And then they go and they take their boat out into the middle of the ocean, find out it's not true. And they die out there because they expect to be at the edge of whatever. And there's going to be soldiers and a cliff wall and all sorts. So we're just taking care of the stupid. It's kind of like the long con, though.
Yeah. What's the end game though? We're just
taking care of the stupid. What's
idiocracy? It's gonna be real life soon.
It is real life, man.
No, we're not that far yet, but we're on our way. Anyway, where was I? Twitter. What was I saying about Twitter?
Something, I don't know. Elon cuck.
Something. Elon suck his dick. Whatever. Now I'm back on track. Yeah. So everybody at on the board at Twitter, they are kind of all getting on board now with the idea of Elon buying it. So like, yeah, let's do it. Elon should buy it. He should take care. He should take over. And I am, as the days go on, I'm increasingly less and less okay with that idea.
Why?
One of the
I'm
things,
not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking.
well, initially I was like, oh yeah, he'll stop cancel culture. He'll allow free speech and allow people to say whatever they want, which is true. But you know how I feel about social media and people
How's he
saying
going
whatever
to
they want.
stop cancel culture?
I'm not Elon. I don't know, but that's his goal. That's his goal.
Just you're talking out your ass. Anyways,
No, that's part of his goal. Like this for this whole free speech issue. That's what cancel culture is. It's trampling each other's free speech. But one thing that he wants to do is increase the user base of Twitter 4 times. That's an incredible amount of people. It's already a stupid place.
How would you increase it? I mean, there is quite an Elon following, but a lot of them have bailed ship as of recently.
Yeah, but I don't think that he needs those followers in order to create an impact. I don't know what his game plan is, what his business or market plan is on how to do this, but he wants to multiply the user base by 4. So 4 times as many people on Twitter. But that's, in the grand scheme of things, I guess it's not that many people because there's less than 10% of the US population even using Twitter. And that's using it in general, not even on a daily basis.
Yeah. That's
I think you're just short of 9% of people. What's the math on that, Grizz? 330 million people. What's 9% of that?
That's a lot.
A little less than 33 million, right?
29 million.
I was close. That's a lot of people. So he wants to multiply that by 4.
I don't think you're gonna get it.
I don't know. How many people are on Facebook? 1 billion?
Yeah, but Facebook's a totally different beast, right? Twitter's mainly just celebrities and people looking at celebrities, but there's a lot of people who just don't give a, like me included. I just don't give a fuck about that crap.
You know, Twitter is a really weird place, even more so than Facebook, because that's like Facebook is like people like you and I competing against each other in our daily lives. So we dress up whatever we're doing. Not you and I specifically, Grizz. I can see the look on your face. Normies. So they're competing with each other on Facebook. Now, if you go over to Twitter, that's all celebrities, high profile people, politicians. And it's like a weird cult instead of a dick measuring contest.
I agree.
And so I don't really know what that looks like when you multiply the user base to the extent that he wants to.
I just don't know where he's going to get it. I mean,
I don't know why he thinks that's going to fix it.
Well, it won't. I don't know if he thinks it'll fix it. He could be wanting to change it all around. I don't know.
I think that multiplying the user base 4 times over will give you 4 times the problems.
Usually.
Yeah. Because there's only so many celebrities, which means he's trying to drag average American citizens into it. That can't be good because they'll just end up with another Facebook.
To me, we've had so many people come on here now and talk about how you would fix the internet censorship issue. I don't think you can.
No, I don't think you can either, because it's so complicated, and especially when you're talking about things that are based in the US, where we have a certain set of rights in place that govern how people do business. You really can't violate those.
No, I do think it's fucked up, and I don't think it helps the scenario to censor these people. It's just, I don't like the fucking My Pillow guy. It was pretty hilarious though when Elon was like, yeah, I'm buying fucking Twitter, and he's like, I'm back on because I could be on, and they're like, no, you can't buy.
I didn't even see that. That's funny.
It was so good.
Another issue though that has not come up very often. Actually, I only heard about this recently. He has Elon. He has factories for Tesla out in China, building Chinese Teslas out for Chinese citizens. And anybody who does business in China is to some extent beholden to the Chinese government. So there's some kind of mutual deal here, which means that a guy who wants to purchase and multiply the user base of everybody's back pocket is also beholden to the Chinese government.
Yeah.
How could that actually work? So China has already tried to shut down accounts on social media of dissenters for their country.
Mhm.
If they have any kind of leverage over Elon Musk, what does that look like in an Elon-owned Twitter when China sees people tweeting about China and says, "Hey, this has got to stop. Elon, we need you to do something about it, or you can't sell Teslas here anymore."
I don't know. I mean, I have a hard time believing that he would. I mean, he's had other issues of that where he hasn't folded. You know,
He's also
um,
never been in that kind of situation.
he had something.
China's a big
Yeah,
market for anybody selling there.
didn't he have something from Russia? He had a death threat from Russia.
That's a death threat. No one gives a fuck about Russian death threats. I'm
I
talking
would
about
beg to
real,
differ.
real, tangible things that
Um,
can happen to him because China can
hold
stop
on.
selling his cars.
Yeah, but if Russia says they want you to die, that's a real tangible thing.
I disagree
Because I
with
believe you're more likely to get fucking the like poison doorknob from them than you are to have them show up in your doorstep for something else.
the chances of a Russian going to Texas to kill Elon Musk are super small. They're never zero, but they're super small.
I don't know, Jerry. If you pissed them off bad enough,
I really don't think that's ever something that he's going to have to worry about,
you don't remember
especially
that?
now. Of course, yeah, I remember hearing about it, but again, it was so low on my radar, it really didn't matter. And I still think it doesn't matter. But if China says to Elon, "Hey, take care of this account or you're going to have business problems," I fully believe that would happen. Totally
I
different
don't know.
game.
He's pretty Republican, man, and
So
Republicans are pretty against it. Like they're all
listen,
about China
this,
building their shit, but they don't want to pay China for shit.
yeah, but he's not just having stuff built in China. He has Chinese Tesla factories for Chinese customers, so he doesn't have
Mhm.
to ship his cars.
I understand.
But this puts him in a situation where he's currently promising to allow all sorts of free speech and not censor anybody. But he's
Mhm.
in business with a country that operates by censoring people, and they've
Yes.
leveraged people before the same way.
Mhm. They've leveraged the U.S. government.
So Elon will either have to give in to China
Mhm.
or give in to free speech and the United States citizens.
What's stronger, his
Right now,
political beliefs or
prob-
his wallet?
probably China right now, but I don't know. Elon, I think, is willing to lose money. That's the
I've been
difference.
hearing a lot of grumblings with Tesla lately from my automotive year buddies.
Oh, what kind of grumblings?
All sorts of battery issues.
Like what?
Like, how long have Teslas been on the road?
Since 2010, right?
Yeah, a lot of
Are
battery
they that old?
replacements already. I mean, it's 10 years for a battery, but I know a lot of things like a Prius that didn't do a battery replacement in 10 years. So it's interesting. They're also having other issues where I guess there's some motherboard that's just frying in them to where it doesn't regulate power correctly.
And that's a newer issue, right?
Yeah,
That could be because of the chip and
China.
microprocessor shortages they were experiencing. So, or
be.
maybe they're Chinese parts.
maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm also just saying.
Not everything's all wonderful in Elon Cuckville.
Well, I know you like to say that I'm Elon Cuck, but I'm more of a realist here. I think he's walking into a massive rat's nest of issues that I don't even see how he could navigate effectively.
I mean, I'm game for him. I'll watch it unfold, and with popcorn.
Twitter itself, I kind of hope that it crashes and burns, but it won't. Social media is stuck with us forever now.
Mhm.
And Twitter
gonna be-
especially is one of the weirdest engines I've ever seen in society.
It's gonna be like anything else. You're gonna have a revolving door, right? Facebook was fucking big, and then it's coming down a little bit now, and something else will pick up, and TikTok's huge right now, and then something it'll just keep on evolving. I don't see Meta taking off, but whatever.
It's going to keep evolving, but right now, Twitter in particular, I think, is one of the main driving forces of cancel culture. And I know that a lot of Democratic listeners or voters in the United States, they have a really weird outlook on cancel culture.
Mhm.
Apparently, it's not cancel culture if you're canceling someone who's conservative, which I'm sure you've heard before.
I'm sure.
Then it's just consequences for your free speech based on the way they look at it, until they start the infighting and then start canceling each other, which they've already started. But there's actually, I think corporations are now on the edge where they are starting to push back on that.
Good.
And there's actually one in particular that I think it was either end of last week or beginning of this week, was Paramount, the production company that make movies. You know Paramount.
Yes, I think we all do.
They pushed back against cancel culture about their library of older movies. So, everything that was going on in the US where like statues of
Oh yeah.
like old generals and stuff like that, military leaders from the South, they're all getting taken down and either not replaced, just left empty, or replaced by something more culturally sensitive.
Yeah.
This comes right back to the Twitter engine, where there's a lot of people who complained about that and got things done, which is to me incredible because it's just under 9% of the population controlling the discourse of our entire
Squeaky
political
wheel, man.
conversation. But they also started picking on Paramount because Paramount has a lot of movies that are pretty fucking old. And there's no cultural sensitivity before like 1990.
Even that, I just cancel culture fucking blows my mind, and maybe it's just because I'm older.
Probably. But
I
these
mean,
people
probably.
wanted all these older movies taken off the shelf, the digital
But
shelf.
wait, yeah, so they wanted it off the shelf because back then, I mean, even you take the statue thing into effect. Like,
Yeah.
where do you stop? Right.
Well, that's the issue.
because at some point, I could look at any one of us living in America and be like, you should be canceled. Oh,
Yeah.
why? Well, because your ancestors did things that aren't okay today.
Mhm.
Guess what? That's fucking everyone on the planet.
Well,
I
that's
don't
the
care who
issue.
you are.
That's the issue we run into now. So if you let cancel culture continue to go the way that it's going, you're eventually going to, I don't even know if there's a word for it, but you're cleansing history. So
Mhm.
you're eliminating access to any information about the past that could be deemed culturally insensitive.
Yeah, I understand.
And that was what they were doing with movies from Paramount. They said that they're culturally insensitive, they're offensive, you should take them down and stop allowing people to view them.
Yeah, they tried
And
to
Paramount-
do that with Netflix too.
Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot on the situation with Netflix, but Paramount said, no, we're going to keep them up. And that's the end of this conversation. And I don't think
Well-
they've even responded since.
I think the problem is that it's exactly what I was saying. It's squeaky wheel, right? We've all heard that saying, squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a small percentage that's calling for this.
Super small
And
percentage.
The rest of us don't fucking care. Like there's plenty of us that understand that yes, these things were made at a different time, where different things. When we were kids,
Mhm.
TV shows didn't swear. Didn't
No, they
have
didn't.
fucking like graphic things that you could watch and shit like that. Now it's all that crap. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Actually, you just reminded me. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but Netflix has a lot of cartoons that come and go, like all their
Mhm.
shows, right? And so my kids watch Netflix. They have their own. They have the kid accounts, so you can have your adult uncensored accounts, the kid accounts that only have like G content or whatever it is.
yeah, I'm blown away by the amount of people who don't use that shit. But yeah.
Yeah. But on occasion, I'll be in the kitchen making dinner or whatever. I'll hear the TV on in the living room. My kids are watching it, laughing, having a good time. And I'm pretty sure I'm hearing the cartoons swear. Like saying, I don't think they've ever dropped an F-bomb, but I've heard shit. I'm pretty sure I've heard bitch, all kinds of stuff. So I walk in the room, I'm like, hey, what are you
Change
watching?
that.
Yeah, but I'm like, hey, did they just say a swear? And I don't think the kids noticed it because my wife swears like a trucker. So that's probably something they just don't hear anymore.
Yep.
And there's been a couple of times where I've walked in and I actually caught it. And I'm like, I don't understand why they're slipping these in. It's got to be like a malicious intent because it doesn't make any sense to me.
I also think that because of the way we treat swears makes them a problem.
Yes.
If we treated them like every other word of the language, when you get to that age, which is typically middle school, when you start using it in a point where it doesn't even make sense anymore. It's true, man. Do you remember when you were in middle school? And your son's about to be in middle school. It's coming.
Oh, my son
Where
is
it's
in
just
middle
like-
school. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
They
has
swear.
he started swearing to the point where you're like, is this a different language?
I have never heard him swear in that sense. Like occasionally he'll let something slip when he's irritated.
Mhm.
So I know that he swears with his friends.
Oh,
And
yeah, of
he says
course.
as much. He says he does. My son has this issue where he doesn't realize that if he tells me something, he's going to get in trouble. So
Mhm.
he tells me all kinds of shit that like, you don't tell your parents this is what you do because you're going to get in trouble. It's a double-edged sword for us because it's good that I know, but like, come on. What if you continue this your whole life and you tell the cops something incriminating? Come on, get it under control.
Don't tell them you murdered someone.
Yeah, he'll be like, yeah. We're talking about swearing. Yeah, me and my friends. Yeah, we do it on the playground. I'm like, listen, do you really think that's something you should tell me? Did you get away with it? Yeah. Why are you telling me that?
Here, you know what's interesting? The amount of racism that you see in little kids in video games nowadays.
I think it's worse than it has ever been.
Ever, dude. Like,
so I come from the heyday of shit talking Call of Duty. What is it even called?
Modern Warfare?
No, just the intercom system. It's got a name. I haven't done it in so long. I can't remember any of this terminology anymore. The lobbies, the game lobbies.
Yeah.
And
God, we're old.
Yeah, I know. So when I was in the peak of Modern Warfare, when that first blew up, there was a ton of shit talking and really fucked up things being said.
Oh yeah, always. The worst.
But it was hardly ever racist. It was.
You'd have one.
It was sexually deviant.
One person. It was sexually deviant.
Sexually deviant. A lot of fucking people's moms. A lot of turd babies. all kinds of fucked up shit, but almost none of it was racist.
Probably a lot of rape talk.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that too. But the most recent time I was in a lobby playing one of the newer Call of Duties, if somebody was talking, it was almost exclusively racist.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I haven't played a long time, but I can overhear like when my son's playing or something. And there was a point where I had to I was like, turn that off for a minute, man. We got to talk.
Yeah.
Like the fucking just complete garbage. Like and I know that I could probably be a little controlling with my kids. I know I'm probably harsher than most people are with their kids, but the people just let their kids do whatever. And there's no bounds. Like if I heard my kids screaming that in their room, oh my God.
Yeah, it makes me wonder where these kids' parents are.
They're in the next room over.
It's worse than that too, though, because I know, just like acquaintances that I have within the last like 5 years, I have gone into a Call of Duty lobby with them. Even them, who are pretty close to my age, once they're in the lobby, like a totally different person, dropping N-bombs everywhere. And
so like keyboard courage.
Yeah, to the point where like, okay, even if you were black, this is pretty uncomfortable. You need to fucking stop that shit.
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah, listen, you said that literally you're using the N-word like it's a period at the end of your sentence. That's not how that works. You should stop that.
That's my point with middle schooler.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I never would have thought, and it's hard for me to say whether or not they truly believe these things or if they're just spewing it out. Like
they're just spewing it because if you listen to the way that they talk about it, they know that it's insulting. That's why they're using it, but they won't say it in public.
Well, I don't know, man. But it seems like it's on and up.
I don't know. I don't understand why it is either. Maybe because racism is getting more attention so that they know that's a trigger now. Because in the 90s, it wasn't like an open conversation for the most part. And we grew up in the late 80s into the early 2000s, that time frame. Yes, there was some racism, but it wasn't hyper focused like now.
I don't think do you think the world will ever be rid of racism?
No, it's not possible because we have different ethnicities. People are tribal, and it's what they do. I don't think that we necessarily have to continue to have racism like it was before the 1950s.
No, I agree, but I don't.
There's always going to be prejudice.
We'll ever be rid of it.
No, it's not possible. And that's one of the things I think we're going in the wrong direction on, because they're trying to. It seems like the squeaky wheel you're talking about, this 9% on Twitter, they're trying to eliminate the concept of racism, which isn't even possible because it's based in prejudice, which you cannot avoid. If you grew up in a white community and all of your exposure to other ethnic groups was what you see on movies and TV, you have a built-in prejudice now.
And we're actually seeing where it's driving in the opposite direction, right? What was that? Whatever the whatever the shithead's name was in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember his name.
It doesn't matter. Cocksucker, whatever.
Yeah.
Shit for brains, he believed in the replacement theory.
Yeah. And actually, you know what was crazy is that's the first time I ever heard that.
It's not the first time I've heard it. It does blow my mind. So we're heading in the reverse now. So we've tried to make it to where equality is such a thing
Mhm.
that we went past. We were coming up to TDC and we're on the other side now, and just the fucking crazy's taking over. It's blowing my mind.
Actually, since we're kind of touching on that topic, do you think that that has anything to do with the increased amount of gun violence? Because I don't know what the actual numbers are, but it would appear that gun violence is rapidly accelerating right now.
I think right now, but I think a big part of that is I think it's all kind of a culmination of the last few years, right? Even they're saying, even from talking to these young men, that they got into this shit because they were bored. They were bored during lockdown, so they got on the black web.
Yeah, didn't a couple of them say that they fell into the 4chan hole?
Yeah, exactly. They went on there, and then they found out about replacement theory, and then now they believed it was a thing, and they went out to kill.
Yeah, it's insane.
And here's the thing, some of them are minorities.
Yeah,
and you're like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Are you stupid?
Have you ever been to 4chan?
No.
It's kind of Reddit-ish, but worse. So if you were to view these from an outside perspective, which I've done because I find myself less than susceptible to these ideologies.
See, I think of it like heroin.
Yeah.
If you touch it, it's done.
Yeah, but you can observe it.
You've got AIDS now.
So I've gone to 4chan because, for one, I heard about it for years. I'm like, what the fuck is 4chan? So I went to check it out. And it's kind of like Reddit, where you can pick a thread that someone started, and it's just a conversation with a shit ton of random internet people. And you watch the conversation spiral out of control and spiral into this situation where everybody is the enemy of whoever's in the group. A lot of the times it's incels. But whatever
is incels.
Yeah, a lot of times the group is an incel group. And so that's how this spirals out of control, because they attract each other. And if you're like even on the cusp, you fall in, you're stuck. Yeah, that's your future now, unless you really work to get out of that.
I don't understand the whole incel thing. How does that happen?
I don't know.
What are we not teaching our young men? Because I don't think you can be a woman incel, can you?
Actually, the very first incel was a woman, and I don't remember her name. I don't remember her name, but
so wrong.
The term incel was actually created by a woman, and then it was just adopted by incel men, and then women who like to make men feel bad about themselves, calling them an incel. Now, because that's what the internet's for: bullying, hate crimes, and social media.
We talked about this before, and I was just like, if you reached an age, right, and you just weren't getting laid for whatever reason, wouldn't you just go get a fucking prostitute?
I don't know. So I've never been in this situation, and I really don't understand the psychology behind it. But I got to imagine that when you get a certain age without having sex, you probably just move on. That's my assumption. I really don't know, because a lot of these guys, if you read these conversations, they are at a point where they don't want to have sex. They just hate women.
Yeah, which I don't know.
Now, what's interesting is a lot of times
anyone can get laid.
Yeah, but a lot of times it evolves from you can't get laid for whatever reason. A lot of times it's a lot of personal issues with the person who's not getting laid.
Yeah.
But they evolve to a point where now they hate women because they view it as they're the reason that this is happening, to a point where it turns from there into violence and control issues, like saying fucked up rape fantasy shit, stuff like that. So they don't actually want to have sex at that point. They just want to inflict violence on women for a perceived slight. I really don't understand how you fall down that hole, but that's what a lot of them are doing. And then it's not just incels. That was just an example. Now you have these people who are falling into this great replacement pit, and they're developing these weird ideologies from perceived slights. And a lot of it's driven by social media. And that's on both sides.
You think any of this shit started as like someone just trolling people? Because I do.
I'm
This is
sure.
the kind of shit I would do.
I don't know to what extent that would be, but I know for certain there are people trolling it even now.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, I consider myself to have a pretty fucked up brain. It's really not that far out of my imagine. I cannot fucking speak. It's really not that far out of my reality to be like, you know what? I could totally see fucking with this guy and getting him to think or
Uh,
do any of that.
I'll
Shit.
vouch for that as someone who has known you for a long time, and we talk about a lot of different things and a lot of different aspects.
Mm.
Sometimes you've got a real fucked up brain.
I do. I can be quite dark.
Not even just dark. Like sometimes I think to myself, where the fuck
Man,
did that
he's
connection
stupid.
come from?
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's I don't know if I'll ever understand that. That's like the wanting pedophilia to be part of the alphabet.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. But I do think it's
I don't know
interesting.
whether it'll happen or not happen. I just find it funny that they're like, "Ooh, let's ride this train."
I think if it does happen, it won't be in the way that they're hoping. It will be like
A mental health
it'll
awareness. Or
it'll be
something.
viewed as a mental health issue that creates a wrong sexuality. This is Western culture, because there's a lot of cultures where a 40-year-old man marrying a 13-year-old girl is normal.
Yes, I know.
But in Western culture, if it ever becomes quote unquote normalized, it won't be normalized in the sense that it's acceptable. It'll be in the sense that it's treatable.
I just don't know. It's all crazy to me.
I don't know either, but that's kind of how I view the path that's going on. If it even gets anywhere, I think it's really unlikely that they'll get anything more than shunned by society.
I think I could probably bring this into this show right now. Jerry and I work in the same company, and we have a manager of another department, and in his emails he puts fan furry tastic, and I'm sitting there going, does he know what a furry is? And I'm talking with older gentlemen. I wouldn't say they're exactly boomers, but they're older.
Mhm.
Like, do you guys know what a furry is?
How many
Does
of
he
them
know
say
he's
yes?
putting this in there?
How many of them say yes? They know what it is.
None of them. They had no fucking clue.
Oh God! Someone trolled him hard, and he fell for it.
So I fucking told them, and they're like, "What?" It was so good.
Oh man!
That's all I can think of when I see the fucking emails now.
You know what? You should probably tell him what he's doing. You know, he'll just double down on it.
Man, do you know what a furry is?
Hell yeah, I do. That's why I put it in my email.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know you were like that.
All right, where
Oh.
were we? What were we talking about? You're always sidelining us.
I am. One thing I wanted to bring up was the Senate had a brain.
With what?
Gun control.
I had heard that they were trying to do something together.
They did.
Really?
They did a thing.
What is the thing? What happened?
So they I don't know if it's passed a law. They signed something.
So it would be a bill, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess it would be. They signed a bill,
Mm-hmm.
and both sides, bipartisan, to where they were going to make it so the background checks of children or people under a certain age were much stricter.
Mm-hmm.
States that didn't have the background checks would have to do the background checks.
Mm-hmm.
They put in stuff to assist red flag states, which red flag states are states that are able to remove guns from people if they have been giving some sort of reason to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top
Like,
of that,
is that like if they were diagnosed with bipolar, they could have their guns taken away? That sort of thing?
yeah, or if they had like a restraining order or shit like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then lastly, a lot of money towards school for safety and mental health.
Oh, we're almost on the right path.
Yeah, they had a brain. It's amazing.
I wonder what this is going to look like in practice.
I don't know. And then Rhode Island went in and fucking said, you can't have anything over 10 rounds in a magazine. And if you do, you got to turn them in or it's $5,000 in jail time. All the gun toters in Rhode Island were like,
so now you're right behind Connecticut.
yeah, I just, listen, I get it. I get gun control. I'm in support of gun control. What I don't get is you have a state that has gun control in practice. Nothing has happened in that state. Let's make it stricter.
Yeah, I think everybody nationwide is in that mode right now. We've seen it in our personal lives, massive overreaction to things that
Mhm.
that have a system in place that worked, like Rhode Island. You guys have not had any real issues.
No,
But
we haven't. We haven't. And on top of that, you just had the magazine ban in California overturned.
so
So
they were they down to 10?
they were down to some crazy shit, man.
Two-round
Like
magazine.
California had some crazy crap.
California's bolt action pistols only.
You got a hand load every single one of them.
Now that makes me wonder if what do you think the odds are that we're going to see another assault rifle ban?
Ooh, I think it's high. Here's the problem though. I don't like so Rhode Island's thing was not only they weren't saying, hey, if you had it beforehand, you're okay.
Mhm.
They said no, not at
It's-
all. Like
Yeah,
you
they
can't
said
have it
game
at all.
over. It's all
Yep.
gone.
You got to turn it in. I don't see that working well. I see that angering a lot of people.
Now,
Um,
did you see anything about the Texas reaction to the Uvalde shooting? Is that I didn't follow their response very much, other than people really criticizing the police response to that. Did they do any policy changes or really any
No, as far as
response?
gun control, no,
Yeah.
but there was some stuff that they were talking about with that. But I don't think they did any hardcore policy changes. Actually, I'm trying right now, behind the scenes, people. I'm trying to get a police officer on so we can discuss these things.
Mhm.
Because I think that would be fascinating. I also think it's interesting what's happening with California right now,
Mhm.
how they kind of went back, and we saw with George Floyd that there was a very anti-cop movement or
Right.
anti-law enforcement movement, and they started to remove cops from areas, and now you're seeing that reversing because they're going, I can't live.
Yeah, who was it recently that actually they went forward with defunding police? That was a specific place, and I cannot remember it.
It's either Minnesota or Portland.
I don't remember
I
what.
know San Fran went the reverse. San Francisco had gone hardcore,
Right.
and they had made some crazy fuck. They signed a DA who was very progressive in his ways, and he
Mhm.
had made it so anything under $700 would not be persecuted, and it was a fucking
Do you mean
heyday.
prosecuted?
Yeah, what did I say? Persecuted?
Yeah. Persecution is
prosecuted.
different from prosecution.
Prosecution. My bad.
That's okay.
So anything under $700 would not be prosecuted. And anyone who was a criminal just went nuts. It was like a free for all, to where we've talked about it. Like they just
Oh,
had
this is the
people
one where
that-
they don't get stopped when they shoplift and everything. Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
so they were just robbing whatever.
Right.
And the people of San Francisco got tired of it and were like, yeah, no, you're out of here because that's absurd.
Did they end up having a recall over that too for the people in charge in San Francisco?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much political turmoil. It's hard for me to keep up.
It is fucking crazy.
But the place that I can't remember. I'll look it up after the show and do an update next week. But they defunded the police. I don't really
Mhm.
know what that looked like in practice, if they didn't exist anymore or what. But massive spikes in shootings. Imagine that. I don't really know what the real answer is, but getting rid of law enforcement doesn't seem like it. It's the right way to go.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not a scientist. I'm just
I think if
a
anything,
cautious observer.
I think getting rid of law enforcement is not the answer. Maybe fixing it might be
Fixing
a
it
better
for
one.
sure. We've talked about that many times. I don't like
It's
their
a 10
hiring
horse.
practices. So nothing's changing there as far as I can tell.
No,
But-
think about who you know has become a cop.
Yeah, high school bullies or the ones bullied in high school. Ironic that
Hmm.
they both chose it.
And odds are, do you think they would become a good cop?
I don't know very many good cops, my friend,
I know a couple, but
but they exist.
most people I know who became one, I'm like, God, you were a shitbag back then.
Yeah, that's because that's the issue. That's the ones that we usually see,
Mhm.
which gives good cops a terrible, terrible reputation.
It does, absolutely. And I mean, listen, I support law enforcement. Cancel me if you want. Weed out the shit, get rid of the bad. And that's a union thing there almost a lot of times.
Yeah, it is. But getting back to our illustrious government working together for a change, I
Hmm.
still think they're missing the mark on a major, major issue with these shootings.
What's that?
How they're reported causes people to continue to do more. So we actually talked about it
when
before.
they say the names.
We talked about it before in other episodes, but
Yeah, most of them are going for the fame of it.
yeah, as a reminder,
For me.
what tends to happen when something like the Uvalde shooting happens, you get like a chain reaction of a series of follow-on shootings. And it appears that every time this happens, it's worse every time. Like that chain reaction and all the copycats, it is more pervasive with every large shooting that happens. And they're not really addressing how that's clearly a result of the way that it's reported.
I think we just don't put their name out. You're not going to stop the media from reporting it, right?
No,
It's
and
just
you
not gonna
really
happen.
can't either.
No. But don't put their name out.
Mhm.
You are now a suspect.
I
Give 'em a-
do see
Don't
a,
even give them any sort of fucking identifying marks.
I do see a shift though in recent shootings is that they're not all ending with the shooter dying. There's a lot of them now that's not going that far. They they come in, they shoot people, but they get apprehended.
Do you think that's good or bad?
I think that it's good because it allows you more insight into the psychology on why they did it after the fact.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the ones that they interview, they'll interview people who planned one but didn't execute it, or they're like beyond messed up. Like they were gonna kill themselves, but for whatever reason, something happened. There's not that many of those that they didn't successfully kill themselves or get killed by the police. Because a lot of them, that's their goal.
What was the name of the woman we had on it?
It's this book here, The Minds of Mass Killers with Siobhan Scott.
Siobhan, thank you. All right. So
And she actually talked about that a lot in our episode.
she did. I'd love to have
Yeah.
her back on now. Actually, we should probably see if we can do that now that shit's fucking gone awry. And I had proposed a question to her. 80s and prior, serial killers were fucking the rave, right? Because they could get away with it. Now it's really fucking hard to get away with it. So are we just seeing who would become a serial killer, and now they want to kill as many as possible, but the only way to do that is this?
I think that's a stretch. I don't think that they're thinking that deeply into it. I think this is
Well, so she was saying that it's a totally different thought process.
yeah, and I agree with that because I don't think that
But you see a lot of similarities. Do you know one of the best markers of a serial killer is?
childhood head injuries. Yeah.
Childhood killings of small animals, but not in like they weren't going hunting.
Yeah, they were just killing them. Yeah.
They were like torturing small animals, like their own cat or their dog or fucking squirrels or bunnies and shit like that. Every serial killer we've ever known has done shit like that.
Mhm.
Like Jeffrey Dahmer fucking was beheading small animals as a child and
Right.
putting them on spikes.
Mhm.
There's a problem there. Oh, look at Jeffrey, he's doing great.
He's just doing science
Those friends. Now you're seeing that with the people who are doing these mass shootings.
Okay.
I just find it
I don't know how many of them fit that description though.
quite a few.
I'm not saying like it's I don't agree with you. I'm saying I literally don't have the numbers. It's not something I've ever really heard come up a lot.
God, you suck, Jared.
You might be right, but I really don't think that these are the kind of people who would have ended up a serial killer because they're making a statement. That's why they're doing a public mass shooting.
Yeah.
Serial killers, they're not planning to get caught. Like if you go to do a mass shooting, you're not going home. You know that. But if you are a serial killer sneaking around like a weasel, you're trying not to get caught because you want to keep
a lot
killing
of the
people.
serial killers were sexual in nature.
Yeah, a lot of them are, but
What was that Russian dude?
oh, I can't remember his name.
Couldn't get hard unless he fucking was strangling a bitch.
You're a fucked up person. Yeah, I don't remember his name. But yeah, you're right. A lot of them are sexual in nature.
Yeah.
I don't see that sexual connection in current mass shooting issues.
Might be, man. I don't know.
I think you're stretching.
How do you know?
And you're stretching in the wrong direction.
Are you checking them for hard-ons when they're done?
Oh my God. Too soon, Chris. Too soon.
I don't know, man. I have no fucking clue. There's where are these kids' parents? Are they not having conversations? That's what I think a big part of it is, right? I think
they're definitely not. And in
we
some
need more
cases,
and
they kill their
more-
parents.
yeah, it's true. I think more and more you're having, parents are just not involved.
There's a lot of different issues there. And it's a cultural issue for one. We talked a couple of times about how in like, let's say the 1930s, you didn't have constant mass shootings like we have now because parents were involved. Parents also could afford to be involved. Like one of the issues we have now is
Involved,
both parents are out working. full-time
True.
job. Takes
Mhm.
up a lot of your time. It really does.
It does, absolutely does.
And
Dude, me and
that's
my wife would work counter shifts, right? For many years, I'd work first, she'd work second, just
Mhm.
to get by, right?
Mhm.
But you still, if you're having kids, you gotta have that you've got to be able to talk to them. And I'm not saying you have to be buddy buddy because I don't think that's the right way either. But you still have to have conversations with them. And I think that's just not happening.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right about that. I don't really know what the fix is though, because again, this is like a
We need
social
to go
a social
to
psychology issue.
I think we figured it out. All right. I've had this
What-
down for quite some time.
What's your solution?
Demolition Man. 3 seashells, no longer having sex, virtual reality for sex. If you want to have a child, you got to go through a process, artificial insemination, all that crazy shit.
Now,
We'll freeze criminals for whatever reason.
I'm not gonna lie. I would be interested in trying virtual sex. This
Okay.
is not like modern. No,
I mean, yeah,
not
yeah, I
like
know.
modern virtual sex
You're
where
saying
you have like a.
Demolition Man,
like
where it was
Demolition
hooked
Man.
up to your brain. Yeah,
I saw that. I was like, wow, it's fucking crazy. I wonder if that'd be cool.
it is fucking crazy. Well, you could do it. Why couldn't you?
Like right now,
I mean,
No.
I don't know.
we're not that advanced yet. Right now, we have basically
You
VR
could. What if you
VR
had a
porn
neural
with
range?
VR porn with fucks all with pocket pussy on it. I'm not gonna do that. First of all, that's really really dangerous. But second,
Dude, you
it's
could
not
totally
really
do
the
that.
same. It's imagine Grizz, you put on a VR headset and you're fully immersed into a porn scene, and all of a sudden it sounds like you're in a construction site. It's not gonna do it for me.
Whoa,
I'm
Jared.
talking full Demolition Man type of VR immersion.
No, I understand what you're saying. I don't think you're that far off from that.
I don't know.
If
you
you're
might be
talking
right.
about Neuralink happening to
Neuralink
where
the porn right into my dick.
to where we can just give you an electrical jolt and next thing you know you're just blowing a load.
That would it's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that could happen. But you're right, it could.
Absolutely.
Everything's just electrical impulses to your brain.
yeah. I got to imagine we could if we haven't already, and I'm pretty sure we have, and I'm sure there's some dude abusing it who has figured out where he needs to electrocute his brain to just be in that climax ecstasy
At
And
all
he's just,
times.
24 fucking 7.
Now, I think that if a guy put himself in that position, he would end up dead from dehydration.
Yeah, I can't stop. I can't stop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god.
This conversation got off
episode
the
has
rails.
gone off the fucking rails.
Wow. I forgot what I was gonna say.
I guarantee you, dude. I guarantee there's some dude who's been abusing that shit.
You're
If
probably
there are
right.
prisoners shoving batteries up their dick hole, there are totally people shocking their brains for
Now-
their jollies.
That's a big step up for sounding. I actually saw a post. I think this was on Reddit too. This woman posted a picture of sounding rods,
Mhm.
and she said, "We got these in the mail." And my boyfriend's like, "I don't know where these came from. I don't know why they're at our house." Well, you should have a talk with your boyfriend because he knows why they're there.
What's a sounding rod?
Really?
I mean, I know in a mechanical world,
So
I
a sounding
assume
rod, they're
you're like bottoming out in your fucking peel.
they are they looked like they were like 10-inch rods. They were all stainless
Yep.
steel with like a bulb at the end. And
Mm-hmm.
they're varying gauges from really thin to pretty thick. And sounding is when you take one of these rods and put it in your dick hole. And
Yeah.
actually, I think women do it too in their urethra.
I don't know. I mean, see, I can understand the pain pleasure kind of correlation,
Not to that extent. I don't think I could wrap my head around that one.
but there's one where this being it, I don't see that. I can say, all right, there's a pain pleasure thing.
Well, I've got limits. Some things just seem really, really dangerous. Like, what if you fell with a sounding rod in your dick?
Well, listen, for all those people who are out there who work in the emergency rooms, nothing makes it into your ass or your dick that you didn't follow.
That's true. And I think that is an excellent piece of advice to end this episode on.
And there you have it. There you have it, gentlemen.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Thank you again for listening, beautiful bastards. New episodes every Monday. Remember to like and subscribe. Here's all you have to know about men and women. Women are crazy, men are stupid. And the main reason women are crazy is that men are stupid.
I don't buy it. Guys, see you next week.